Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our Goals to Riches Mastery Summit and another powerful expert session. We've been bringing together experts from around the world in the areas of goal achievement, leadership, productivity, overcoming adversity, and building a network. So you can declare, own, and achieve your goals and create the riches in your work and life that you deserve. And we've had a fabulous lineup, and today is no different. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm Bernadette Bose. I'm the founder of Ball of Fire Coaching. I'm a transformation and success coach. I'm an author and a podcaster, but I'm really passionate about helping professionals to achieve their goals, plain and simple. So I am thrilled to introduce Nicole Roberts-Jones to you. And her fiery spirit around helping you to find your fierce and creating a life of purpose, power, and profit was just what the coach ordered for this summit. And her fierce determination to help you get the drive it takes to step fully into the gift that no one has but you is certain to have you realizing your dreams, your goals, and the riches in life that you deserve. So before I introduce her or bring her in, let me introduce her. Nicole Roberts-Jones is uniquely gifted at one thing: drawing out what's best in you and helping you to take your brilliance to the bank. A veteran of the entertainment industry, Nicole worked in talent management and casting before shifting her talents to help others bankroll their brilliance. She now works with entrepreneurs to create multiple streams of income from what they already know in order to build an empire from their expertise. Additionally, Nicole works with corporations to assure their executives and middle managers push their internal edge and step into the true power of their gifts and talents at work. Her clients have included the Steve Harvey World Group, Dell EMC, McDonald's, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Lisa Nicoles and Motivating the Masses, Coach Diversity Institute, the Boss Network, and Working Mother Magazine, to name a few. Nicole is also a nationally recognized transformational speaker, bankroll your brilliance expert, and best-selling author of 4 books, and the most recent being Find Your Fears. She lives with her husband in a suburb of Boston, Massachusetts. She consults, writes, and creates breakthroughs for her clients. Welcome, 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 Nicole. I am so thrilled to have you.
So excited about this conversation and so on time. I know so many people need this right now.
Find your fears. And they do need to find their fears. So what does that mean?
So, years ago, probably about 10 years ago, I was watching Beyonce, and those of you that don't know me know that I'm transparent. Let me say that up front. So while I was watching Beyonce, I was having a little jealous, little hateration, as I would call it, right moment. And as I was, being jealous, what dropped in my spirit is, you have fears too. And I'm like, okay, I know this isn't God while I'm watching Beyonce. This can't be right. And so what began to come to me is this now, and I did a little research too. So what we all forget, at least I did, let me say, but I forgot until that moment, was Beyonce largely had a career where she was with a group of women, right? And so there came a time when it was time for her next level. And I'm saying this conversation, by the way, is timely because many of you are listening and it's time for your next level. And that next level for her meant she had to go on stage by herself for the first time in her life. And so because it was scary, in order to help her get the courage to do it, she made up an alter ego called Sasha Fierce, right? And it was that alter ego that allowed her to stand confidently in the woman that she was purposed to be. And so what I realized in that moment is we all have that opportunity, right? We all have that opportunity to let all of us come forward, right? Whether that's Clark Kent to Superman, whether that's Diana Prince to Wonder Woman, if y'all remember Diana Prince, right? Yep. Nobody ever remembers that name, right? I had to look that up, by the way. And so really for me, that's what I realized I had been doing, even in my own journey, was I had to stop living in perception and what other people really determined for me. And I had to start to stand in all of my power and do it unapologetically. And so in that moment is when my whole concept for all the women I get to serve, Find Your Fierce. Now, if there are any fellas that are listening, let me just say this so you don't miss your breakthrough. Put ferocious in that line. Say, find your ferocious, right? Don't miss it, because this applies to you too, just in case we have some fellas listening.
Yeah. Well, and so say someone out there that's listening and watching, they have this kind of churning, almost like what you said about you were kind of jealous, but it was a good jealous because you were like, I know I could do that too. Maybe not sing, but be fierce. How can that person who's sitting there squirming in their seat right now watching us, how can they start tapping into it?
So I'll tell you, I had my own fierce moment, finding my own fierce moment before that moment, right? And now I can call it finding my fears. So for me, I had the job I always wanted, and I am going to tell you how, but I want to set the landscape so you guys get this. So I had the job in the entertainment industry I've dreamed of since I was 7 years old. And listen, by then I've been working with Viacom's largest cable network. We had an outreach to 89 million homes on a weekly basis. Wow. From there, I worked in casting on the #1 TV show on Fox. And then from there, I worked with an entertainment group, and what we produced generated over $12.6 billion a year. So I'm sharing that with you because I want you to realize I was doing some pretty big things. Plus, I was going to all the hot Hollywood parties, right? Loved every minute of it, but I felt like something was missing. And I felt like, okay, this is really weird because I love my job. I didn't hate my job. I loved it, but something felt off. And so in that moment, I started really, really, first of all, every time I told one of my girlfriends I felt like this, they kept saying, are you crazy? Did we just go to this? Did we just get on this red carpet, right? And so I just felt tormented by it. And so in that moment, I volunteered for a program working with young women at my church. And when I started working with those young women, now mind you, it was in the middle of me being dazed and confused, not knowing what I'm doing. I'm just doing volunteer work. And what I know I was doing then, I mind you, this was 1993, by the way, y'all. So this was before there was a such thing as a coach, right? And so in that moment, for the first time, I felt alive. And I realized, oh my God, this is what I'm meant to do, but I didn't know what this was. And so I realized now in that moment, what I did was I found my fears because I felt alive and I loved it. And so I had to now start trying to figure out how to do that thing. Yeah. So in that moment, what I did, and mind you, I went on this journey for myself. I didn't realize I was going to end up coaching other people. Right now, some 27 years later, ooh, how old am I? Some 27 years later, I now coach other women to do the same thing. So what I found is what I call my fierce framework. And so it encompasses 4 things. One, so those of you that don't know what your purpose is, I'm gonna tell you right now up front, the first 2 are really define what your purpose is, right? So the first one is, what are you passionate about? Like, what do you love doing? Like, I loved every minute of entertainment. By the way, the same thing I did then, talent development and casting, I'm doing now. Because I really help you take your talent and develop it around your business. So I'm not, just expanding my territory really. So one is, what are you passionate about? What do you love doing that you could do and do it for free? Second is, what are you proficient in? Like, what are you really, really great at? Now, those 2 have to correlate because you don't want to love it and suck at it because then nobody wants to pay you. Right. If I tried to sing, I love to sing, but I can't. So I don't think I can start a career singing, right? And which is why I was hating on Beyonce, by the way, y'all. So the second is, you don't want to be good at it and hate it, right? And so really those 2 have to correlate. Like Michelle Obama talks about this in Becoming, that she was really great at being a lawyer, excelled in it, but she hated it. So that it started her journey to what I would say find your fear. So I'm sure she called it something else. So those are the first 2 steps, is really getting clear on your purpose first. And then the other 2 quickly are, then you've got to understand this third step is, what problem does it solve? Because you being great, you having this purpose in you, it's not for you. Yeah. So it could be problem and people, because a group of people need you, right? Right. And then last but not least is, how do you profit from it for my entrepreneurs? For my career ladies, it's, what position do you play in your role at the company you work in? Because either way, it's moving someone's life or business forward when you get clear. So that's the 4 steps quickly. Right.
Well, and I want to, because you're not doing it for you. I'm scribbling here. So on that third step, so the first 2 steps have to be kind of, aligned together. And then on the third step of, what problem do you solve? You then went on to say, because you're not doing it for you. Expand on that, because I think our attendees need to really understand why they're in business and or why they're doing what they're doing in their corporate job. And it's not about them.
Right. So anytime someone's coming to you, they're coming to you for an answer, right? Whether it's a challenge, whether it's, look, I can tell you all the challenges I'm having right now. I just hired a trainer, whether it's to lose weight because I've got all this extra, I've been eating way too much. So whatever that is, people are seeking an answer. Even if you're buying a Nike, hello, you're seeking an answer, right? You're seeking something, whether it's a desire, a challenge, a need, whatever that is. And so that's why I say it's not for you, because here's what I see so many people do. And this was me included, right? By the way, I was horrible in business for the first probably 17 years until I got this lesson. Okay. So I have a whole story about that, but I won't go into that. But listen, is you walk around as the expert and you do one of two things. And sometimes you do both at the same time. Okay. So now that I have this whole expertise, I start using words, right? I'm a social worker by trade. So my master's degree is program development, but I have a master's degree in social work. So if I start using my social work words, first of all, nobody I coach is a social worker. So you would not know what the heck I was talking about, right? Number one. And then number two, if I say you need me, well, you don't know me. So why would I just hire you and I just met you? It's kind of like, I call this, you have to date people in your business, even in your career. And like if my husband came to our first date with my ring, I would have been like, okay, this man is very crazy, right? And so I would have been calling one of my girlfriends, please come get me. I think I got a crazy one. So, he had to date me for a while. So the same thing, you got to let people see the value that you bring. So even when you're looking for a new job, you don't have to go around and brag about yourself. You let people experience you. That speaks more volumes than any word that could come out of your mouth. And ultimately, even if I'm working on the team, listen, somebody had to create an iPhone because I needed it, right? So even the people that on the team creating an iPhone, each person has a part they play. Ultimately, every part has something to do with the sum total of why they're there. And that sum total is for the customer that you're looking to actually be the answer to. So if I use as an example, one of my favorite things to do is shop on Amazon, right? How many of you guys shop on Amazon? The 2-day thing, gets me in trouble. So listen, when Jeff Bezos first started, people thought he was crazy. Thought, oh, it's never gonna work. But he was being the answer to a need ahead of his time. Now look at all these people that are trying to do 2-day shipping. Y'all are late. Even dare I say, Netflix. That's why there is no more Blockbuster. Netflix was an answer to a need.
Right.
So it's the same thing. You've got to understand when you're getting into business, as brilliant as you are, if you don't understand things from your client's need perspective and you can't articulate to them what their needs are in a way that makes them feel like you're adding value and not selling them, your business, your career won't move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So say someone has been struggling with that I want to even go back a little bit and say someone is struggling with, yes, there's this thing coming up within me that's welling up within me. I really don't know what it is. Like you said, I didn't know what it was. You're not necessarily saying, okay, force the discovery of that because you just naturally went and happened to volunteer at this, with this community group. And then all of a sudden it ignited a flame within you. So what would you suggest they do if they're like, yes, I want to find my purpose. I want to, really understand that I'm passionate about and what I'm proficient in. Are there steps that they could be taking in order to do that?
So what I'm going to say is going to sound so basic to some of you, but some of you, this is the reason why you don't know. Oh yeah, I'm stepping on your toes virtually, right? So we call ourselves human beings, but we're not. We're human doings because we focus so much on what we do, but we don't stop and sit in our being. The answer to that question is in your being. So if you shift and sit, and when you're feeling really great, like, there are times in your day where you're just loving what you're doing. There's times in your day where you hate it too. Pay attention to what are you doing? Because if you're hating it, you should not be doing that, right? That's what I call when you have a business, you hire out, right? You hire out, even if you work for a corporation, that's when you say, hey, I need somebody else on my team, right? When you're loving what you do, you should do more of it, but you've got to sit in your being. I can't answer that for you, right? The other thing I want you to pay attention to is so funny. I was just reading an article the other day. I'm gonna see if I get the statistics right. Gwen Torrance. So Gwen, I wrote her name down, so I'll say her name right. Gwen Torrance, in case I told the story, because I was like, so good, I gotta hopefully share it. Gwen Torrance is an Olympic runner, okay? So in 1995, Gwen won the 200 meter, okay? But let me give you a little backstory why I'm telling you this story real quick about Gwen. So when Gwen got to her locker room that day, before she was gonna run, her favorite shoes were missing. Nobody knows to this day if maybe the cleaning team, cleaning staff moved them, somebody came to sabotage and whatever. But despite that, she still ran, right? She ran, she won, okay? So you guys know, if you've seen Olympics, they take their victory rap, they're running around, they're giving people high fives. She's been interviewed by TV reporters, and she's thanking everybody that helped her, but there was a discrepancy. The discrepancy was this. When they went back and looked at the footage, Gwen ran in somebody else's lane. And the thing about racing, any kind of Olympic sport, is you cannot run in someone else's lane. They have this whole thing calculated out. This is why I say I might not say it right, because I just read this article yesterday, where if you are in the lane you're in, it gives you the same amount of space or time to win. So if you go to somebody else's, it's kind of like you're cheating a little bit. So here's what I want you to get out of me sharing that, is there's a lane that's all your own. And when you try to run in someone else's lane in your career or your business, you fail. What do I mean by that? When you are so focused on, oh, she did it like this, let me do it like her, you will fail. Yeah. When you're after title or position, but you're not clear on your DNA, your distinct natural ability, you will fail. So once you get clear, and this is why it's so important to set goals, but make sure your goals are in alignment with your DNA. Just because I want to be president of a company, that might not be in alignment with how I'm wired, right? And so when I read that story, I was like, oh my God, that's so good. All she did was she got in someone else's lane, and it totally disqualified her. Now, mind you, she's known as one of the fastest women in the world, but she got disqualified just because she ran in somebody else's lane.
Damn. Well, and at the same time, because I shared it from your bio, it's, being someone else is kind of, you're giving up your power. You're giving up who you truly are. And it's okay if you're struggling to figure out I love that, DNA, your distinct natural ability. But at the same time, what you're saying is just slow down, take a breath, and just, work into figuring it out. Just spend a lot of time just asking yourself a lot of questions. Is that it? Sitting with
and paying attention. Instead of being on autopilot, I remember when I was still working a 9 to 5, right? And mind you, I've had some pretty good 9 to 5s, right? I'd be on autopilot. And sometimes you don't realize what you're great at because you just do it. And you think things like, oh, can't everybody do this? No. Right. And even if they do it, they don't do it like you do it.
Right.
So with that clarity, it begins to help you. Now, it's not about being conceited, but it's being convinced in who you are and how you're wired. That's the lane. So whenever you feel like you are looking at somebody else, what they say, the grass is always green on the other side. I want you to remember Gwen, right? Stop looking at their grass and water your own grass. Stay in your own lane. Right. So it's really about two things: growing. Well, first of all, knowing your DNA, and then growing it. Those are the two most fundamental things to really getting in alignment with the goals that you should be setting for yourself.
Yeah. Well, and I think what you're also saying is too, they're going to be called out as a fake if they try to take someone else's lane, and they're trying to do something someone else is doing. They're eventually, it's going to be called out because it's not true to who they are. They're just kind of.
And whether you get called out by someone else or you will call out yourself, because you'll feel like something's, it's almost like I always like to, you can tell I like stories. It's like going to Nordstrom and trying on some shoes, and they hurt, and you don't have any business buying them, but they're on sale and they're cute, and you take them home anyway, and you never wear them because they hurt. It's the same thing. Like you try out this career, nobody else, like, I could wear the shoes out and be cute, but my feet would hurt the whole time, and no one would know my feet hurt but me.
Right.
Right. It's the same thing when you're in a career that just isn't a good fit. You usually either you feel like something's missing, right? And mind you, the job wasn't bad. It just was no longer big enough for my gift, right? Or you feel like you hate it, or you feel like you're settling, or I can go on. And many of you guys are dealing with this right now. It's only because you're either in the wrong lane or the lane you're in is too small.
I love that. I love that. But now, and not for me, but I'm gonna, I'm gonna shadow or not shadow. I'm just gonna pretend I'm one of our viewers and one of our listeners. They're all of a sudden going, too small. It's too small. Like I'm supposed to be bigger. Because then all of a sudden they start questioning whether or not they're worthy of a bigger. And am I being egotistical or totally out of my mind? You would say what?
I would say, first of all, there's one of my favorite Bible verses is God will do is Ephesians 3:20, abundantly above all you can ask or think. So if God can do bigger than you ask or think, then that rumbling inside of you means it's time for you to go after the bigger, right? But here is the thing, and I can tell you story after story about this in my own life. So especially when I left entertainment, there was no such thing as a coach. I didn't know what the heck I was doing.
Right.
But I knew I had to follow this thing that was rumbling inside of me. So I had to do it afraid. If you ask anybody you greatly admire, if I use Oprah for an example, okay, now we all know that Oprah left her phenomenal TV show after the 25th year. You guys remember that?
Yep.
And then she went off to start this network. Now, what most people have forgotten is that network bombed the first year. It was like in the lowest of the 5 lowest. It was in one of those 5 lowest, right? And listen, the other 4 we've never even heard of, right? Yep. Networks. It was so bad, but she knew she was meant to do it. She knew that was her next level. Did she give up? No, she got help. And so that's where many of us think that, because there's a quote, the tools you use on this level are not sufficient for your next. Yeah. So you can't go into your next level thinking you're going to use the same stuff that got you to this level. You've got to get new tools. Yes. So whether that's getting in a program, hiring a coach, reading a book, sometimes it's all 3. So for me in that moment, and many of you, when you're going after that next, it's bigger than where you are, right?
Right.
So when I said earlier, your job is no longer big enough, you're usually bored, right? Or you feel like something's missing. That was me. And I didn't understand why I felt it because no one was talking about it like we are right now. Yeah. So if nothing else, let this conversation give you permission to start to be with you and figure out what that is rumbling inside of you.
Right, right. And I think what's important of what you're saying is be okay to be scared of that unknown. Right. And then what can they do? Say they're in a, let's talk to the corporate professionals. Say they're in a corporate job. Say they're just fine in corporate, but there is a big ass job that they want, or there's a big jump that they want to make to start their own business. Yet they need to safeguard what they currently have because they're just not ready to risk it all. Yeah. How can one pursue this yearning inside while at least maintaining some degree of protection and stability while they're doing it?
Well, you got to have strategy. Now, what I'm going to say, there's no cookie cutter way. Everybody's different. But number one, I always say you've got to have at least a year worth of your salary saved, at least, right? Especially those of you that are starting business, because you got to spend money to make money. Right. So if you're starting a business, I always say, don't quit your 9 to 5, stay there, don't quit. Right? Start it alongside because your salary might be up here. When you start your business, let me keep it all the way real. Bernadette knows your salary is down here, right? And you got to be able to pay your lights, you got to be able to pay your internet, you got to be able to pay your mortgage, right? Yep. So you don't quit until your salary in your business either gets to this place and it's predictable, right? Month over month, quarter over quarter, or it goes past it, right?
Right.
Those of you that are looking to take a big leap and say you're going to work at another job, say you want to be a CEO and the company's a lot smaller, meaning your salary is going to be a little less, then you want to look at your budget. What do you absolutely need to live on? Right? There are some things that you might have to let go. Now, to be quite honest and transparent, when I decided to go on the entrepreneurial things, when I started wearing my hair natural, right? I took my nails off and now I love it this way. I didn't know I was going to love it like this, right? But I started looking at what do I really, really need? What are things I can cut out so that I can live slimmer to go after this thing I greatly want? Right. So it's really setting strategy for yourself, being wise with your decision. And then at some point, when you take the leap, it's still going to be a risk because even though you've planned this nest egg, even though you've planned out your year, you don't know things are going to go the way you planned. You could jump into this new career, this new business that you're the CEO of, and it can go under. You have no way of knowing that. Right? But you've got to take a leap. Again, anybody great. Think about anybody you admire. Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, Oprah Winfrey, even J.K. Rowling. that wrote Harry Potter.
Yep.
What most people don't know is she got turned down 9 times by 9 different publishers before somebody said yes.
Yep. Yeah.
So you got to be willing to stay in it.
Right. Well, and I absolutely love the risk, but everybody needs to know success doesn't come without sacrifice and compromise. And those two things really make people squirm because they're like, I'll take a risk, but I don't want to compromise or sacrifice, what I have, but I'll take a risk, and it's like a battle of the mind, actually. Would you say so?
And what I always say is your conviction and comfort cannot ever coexist. So you can't really, really want something and feel this conviction to go do it and want to do it comfortable. Because again, comfortable means you're going to do it at the level you're already at.
Yeah.
And when something is pushing you to grow, to expand your territory, it's never at the level you're at. It's coming after who you have not yet become. So it's a whole new level of you got to conjure up. So if you want to stay comfortable, then you want to stay in mediocre. If you want to be comfortable, then stay in easy, then stay in good enough. If you want extraordinary, you got to go uncomfortable. You have to.
Right. And you have to up level. So, there's this idea of the 5 people around you, kind of, you're the average of the 5 people around you. Right. And therefore, if you want to, up, you have to change even the circle of people that you're hanging out with, you're being coached by, you're being mentored by. Is that part of this whole thing?
What's interesting is I say yes, and right, because there are some people that I've known since I was young that I still talk to, right? But what happens is, like, if I use myself for an example, so when I started growing my business, again, I didn't know what I was doing, right? I was going into an industry that didn't exist, so I had to hire a coach. When I hired that coach, I also joined her mastermind. In that mastermind was like in 2011, 2012. I met my business bestie, who I still know to this day. Now, I met her and she and I jive because we're both in this journey together, right? Doesn't mean my other friends don't have a place in my life. They just can't talk to me about my business.
Right.
They can't help me grow in this thing. So when I'm pushing myself to the next level and I'm scared, now they'll cheerlead me. They'd be great to go to happy hour with, but they can't really help me walk through and talk through strategy, right? I call my business bestie like, girl, oh my God, right? And again, I met her in a community that I was growing my gift. Had I not chosen to grow my gift, I would not have met her. I actually have a couple of girlfriends that I met in that mastermind, that those are the people I text and call. Yep. Again, my girlfriends I've known since elementary school are great. Don't get me wrong, but they can't help me growing my business because they have not yet done anything like this. Right. So I totally agree with that. And you got to get into some new circles where the people are, I hate to say on the level you're on, because just because they're growing their business doesn't mean they're on your intellectual level. Let me keep it all growing, but you got to get people that, in my humble opinion, putting 2 words together, are spiritually and mentally where you are, because if they're not somewhere, somehow, it's not going to work.
Right. Right. And plus you need the people that are above you to share with you their lessons learned, their best practice. What we're doing here for everyone that's participating is to give them what we've already been through, you have already been through, so then they may prevent those mistakes or they might take on those strategies that you're sharing.
Which is why you hire a coach.
Right.
A coach should be 10 steps ahead of you. They should have mastered what you are looking to master, right? Now be careful, y'all, because some people that say they are coaches are not. It's an industry that's not regulated. So that's why I think you should date people and make sure they are who they say they are. You should listen to testimonials and things like that. Right. But, my life has been blessed richly by having coaches around me. I just told you at the beginning, I just hired a new trainer because I've been eating stuff that I ended up eating. The other thing you've got to realize is there's a difference between being interested in something and committed. Right. Interested, you'll only do what's convenient. You do what's easy. Committed means look, I'm pushing every option off the table. I am willing to do whatever it takes. So with me hiring this new trainer, I'm like, okay, I got to get committed because all this little stuff I'm doing on the side, because I'm interested in still fitting my clothes, isn't working. I need to get committed to it. And so that meant I had to up level and mind you, I'm 50. So my body has shifted. So my trainer I was using before, the stuff she was teaching me isn't working, not because she's not good. I'm just in a different place in my weight maintenance journey. So to hire someone that understands menopause, because that's what I'm dealing with right now.
Yep. Absolutely. And I think what is beautiful about what you said too is the fact that you can go and put money down on anything. But at the same time, if you still don't have that conviction, if you still don't have that commitment, you might as well have just handed that money to, like, the thief down the street, because
Right.
it won't kind of give you,
Work.
right, right. So
It's like this example I like to use, Bernadette. If I could hire a trainer and say, "You work out," and I'm gonna sit right here. I'll be right here while you work out for me. And my goals look like J Lo, and I'll sit here and you do it. Ooh, girl, that looks hard. Thank you. And I'm just sitting here, right? You
right,
got to be willing to put in the work.
yes,
So again, for me, I'm scared of my trainer, to be honest with you. I'm scared of her a little bit, and she wants me to do stuff I do not want to do. I'm gonna be honest with you. But I know if I want to have the health I want to have as I grow older, I have to be committed to doing what I need to do now. Had I been committed in my 40s, I wouldn't be so hard now. But
right,
it's harder now because I didn't commit to it before.
yeah, yeah. Well, and since you brought up coaching,
Hmm.
and to be careful, because not all coaches are coaches. Um,
Hmm.
let's go ahead and kind of, address that. What should they be looking for? What due
Hmm.
diligence? What questions? Look at the testimonials, look at their website, look at their whatever. But more so, when they go to speak with them and meet with them, what should they be doing in order to ensure it's a good fit for them?
Hmm. I think, to be honest with you, in an industry and I never call myself a coach. Okay. Now, I went to coaching school, and I'm transparent, right? And as I was sitting in coaching class, they only, in my humble opinion, now mind you, I haven't gone to coaching school since 1994, y'all. So just take this with a grain of salt because things probably have changed. They were only teaching you how to be a life coach back then.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't teach you how to grow your life. I teach you how to grow your business.
right.
My master's degree and the fact that I've been an adjunct professor at not just one prestigious university, but two,
Yes,
speaks to my expertise. So
right.
number one, you want to look at their track record,
Yeah.
right? Look at what their expertise is. Are they calling themselves an expert, or can they really show you that they have
Mhm.
expertise? And then two, again, it is testimonials, because you want to hear what other people's experiences are. And then three, date them for a while. Watch what they do. Sign up for their free stuff. And if a coach isn't giving you free stuff, then bye. They're
Yeah,
not letting you date them, right?
right.
Because you want to make sure, and it needs to be someone that resonates with you. Your girlfriend can hire a coach, and if you're not feeling it, it's a good fit for her, but not for you,
Right,
right?
right.
And the last thing I would say, that coach needs to be an expert in the field you want, but they need to be 10 steps ahead of you in it. So
Oh,
what
yeah.
I mean by that is, I always say I'm still in the journey. I haven't arrived. I'm still growing too. I'm not perfect. Any coach that tells you they're perfect is lying to you. They just are. We're all human. As long as we're on this earth, we still gonna be in the flesh, just like everybody else working through stuff in our business. But the mistakes I'm making now, I feel like I'm making them now at this higher level than you are. And then I end up I'm transparent with my clients too, like, girl, let me tell you what I did yesterday and it didn't work. So that then when they get to that place, they already know it because I told them. So you want to just make sure it's someone that's still in the work, someone that has the background, right? It doesn't matter if you have a master's degree, any of that. It's, do you have the expertise in the field, right? That you're looking to grow in, right? And then look at their track record, look at their clients, look at who they be, look at how they coach people. You want to look at all those things. And then ultimately, does that person resonate with you?
Absolutely. Love it, love it, love it. So say someone is, someone is ready to kind of declare, own, and achieve their goals, which is kind of my platform, because,
Mhm.
everyone deserves to achieve their goals. What, what first steps would you suggest to them to take to where they really get a good handle on the goals that they have for themselves, whether personally or professionally?
Well, first, get clear on what you really, really want, right? Not what your mom wants, your mate, your kids, your cousin, whoever. What do you really, really want? Even if it's the thing that you can't dare want it,
Mhm.
right? Now, for me, I wanted to own my own business. I didn't know how to do that in 1993 at 23 years old. I didn't know how to do that, right? But I wanted it. This is, by the way, why vision boards are so big, because then you take what you want and you put it in your face,
Mhm.
and then it helps you stay focused on it. So the first thing is really sit with what is that thing that's rumbling inside you that you don't say out loud because how dare I want that,
Right,
right?
right.
It's really getting clear on what that is. And sometimes if you can't get clear, that's why you hire a coach like Bernadette, so she can help you get clear, Because without that clarity, how are you going to even set up strategy? If you, I remember one time, real quick, this man was trying to hire me to help him get to happy. So I said, so tell me what happy looks like. And he couldn't define it. So you want me to get you to and meet you at, this is what I said to him. You want me to meet you at lunch, but you're not going to tell me the restaurant or even the address, but you just want me to meet you. So if you can't define it, how do you expect anybody to help you get to the destination? You've got to be able to define what you want before you can hire somebody to help you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. And yes, it's so true. It's so true. And what do you find to be the biggest mistake that professionals would make, whether it is about their, work life or home life, that's also getting them in, in their way of living the life that they should be living of fears and finding their fears?
I think the biggest thing in the way is to sit in your being, right? To give yourself at least 20 minutes a day. If you like to write, then journal. It's sitting with you and being clear on what you want. So whether it's I'm a mom and I want to start a business and I feel guilty, sit with why you feel guilty. 9 times out of 10, you realize it's a story you're telling yourself, right? So it's really giving yourself that time with you. Okay. I think is the one thing that gets in the way. And then the second thing is perception. Whether that's you worried about other people's perception or your own perception of who you're supposed to be, living in those supposed to's, right? And so sitting in your being, you'll also begin to realize how those are showing up and how those are defining the path you're on, so you can hopefully let them go.
So is your suggestion that when something comes up within you that you say that all of a sudden you're considering how someone's going to view you because of whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is that your decision you're making, you're asking them to kind of tap into and recognize that right away so they can start kind of evaluating why they're so concerned about the other person?
So I would sit with why is that person so important, and why does what they care matter to you so much, right? Because if you could pick it up right away, it wouldn't be bothering you. Let me keep it real, right? So when you're so concerned about, sorry, my allergies are acting up, my nose is itching so bad. I'm trying not to scratch it like I want to, but so if you see me go like this, just know anyway. So it's sitting with it, because what happens is if we are so like I have a client who is a CNN correspondent, I'm not gonna say her name, and she her whole family kept telling her to be a lawyer. So she went to law school, and she's in law school, but she knows in the bottom of her belly she wants to be a journalist. So she gets an offer to be a partner in a law firm, and she has a decision to go up or go out. And she said, I decided to go out. I had to stop listening to what everybody else wanted from me. I had to get clear on what kept coming up for me in my soul. And now she's on CNN. So it's really letting go, but you've got to sit with what's coming up for you. And I think that's the hardest thing, because I call it a lie. It's a lie. And you have to battle your lie or the truth. A lie are all the things that you think. And I'm saying you think because we make up the lies, right? Yes. We make up the perception, because really, if you ask the people, that they would go, oh, girl, you could have done that a long time ago. Really? Right. I've been holding on to this story that I thought you wanted me to do this. And that's not even what you were thinking. But we hold on to the lie, and then we live the lie. Or even some of you guys married, dare I say, what I call the representative, and you knew he wasn't 100%. And then one day you wake up and realize, oh, he's not 100%. And then you wonder why you didn't sit in your being long enough to pull back the layers to see him for who he really was. No judgment. I've dated plenty of those. Thank God I didn't marry any. I dated plenty of those, right? I kept feeling like I was starting in the same movie. I'm like, can I please get out of this movie? Well, until I sat in my own being, that I began to realize I kept dating the same man over and over because I didn't know my worth.
Right. Right.
So when I started saying, okay, stop. This is who I know I am. And then I started showing up as that. Those fake folks, men went away. And my husband, didn't budge when I kept saying, this is who I am, deal with it. Right.
Right.
It's really taking that time. It's really, really taking the time and I'll keep saying it, sit in your being, to sit in your being and ponder what's coming up.
I love that. I love that. I love that. And yeah. And this life, goes so fast. We owe it to ourselves to stop caring about what everybody else thinks and do what you want to do, because the clock is ticking, and, this is your life, not anyone else's. So do what you want to do, not what they want you to do.
Exactly.
Anyway,
Exactly.
this is about you.
No, this is perfect. That was good.
That was all bottled up inside me. Had to say it. So let's talk about, you have a fabulous free gift for our viewers. So share.
So it's called the Brilliance Roadmap Quiz. So one of the things I'm committed to is it's helping women let their light shine so bright that if somebody can't handle it, you just need to hand them a pair of shades, right? And so it's helping you get clear on where you are in the journey, whether you're looking to, so when it's a quiz, it's free. You take the quiz, it'll tell you if you're one of three stages, really understanding what your purpose is and how to align it with the work you do, whether it's 9 to 5 or as an entrepreneur. If you're looking to start a business alongside your 9 to 5, or if you're trying to grow your $1 billion brand, right? Or finally, if you're trying to build a 6-figure business, it tells you where you are in your journey, and then it gives you your next steps also for free.
Right.
And I created it because when I was in this crossroad and I was looking to start this business, right? And by the way, I would have never said entrepreneur. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know where to start. I didn't even know what to call what I wanted. So by taking the quiz, it helps you get that clarity and gives you your next steps.
Yeah. Awesome. People, you must take advantage of this. You really, truly must. I went through it myself, but that's all I'll say. But you must take advantage of it. It's brilliant.
Well, what did you think? Did you enjoy taking it?
I did. I just did it. So I'm going to be getting, the follow-up.
The report should probably be in your inbox, right?
Yeah. I'm very excited. Okay. So somehow I lost the URL. Where do
Brilliance Roadmap Quiz, brillianceroadmapquiz.com. Again, brillianceroadmapquiz.com.
Right. And we'll also include it in the post. We'll include the link everywhere you need to have it. And at the same time, I want you to all go to NicoleRobertsJones.com and learn all about her. Trust me, just as you can see, she's fabulous. Just absolutely fabulous. One last tip before we close out would you have for everyone when it comes to especially their goals, their success, and just the riches that they want out of life?
The one thing I would say is your comfort zone is where dreams go to die. And then I should drop the mic and walk away. But literally, you've got to be willing. If you want to go after the big, bold, hairy goals that are in your spirit, you're going to have to do it uncomfortable.
Yeah. It's where dreams go to die, people. Where dreams go to die. Make them live. Get uncomfortable. That's fabulous. Thank you so much, Nicole. I always love talking with you. It's fabulous. Thank you for being part of the Goals to Riches Mastery Summit. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I love playing with you, so thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. And thank all of you for participating in this powerful and transformative Goals to Riches Mastery Summit. You have a lot more that you'll be receiving as far as guest interviews, bonus sessions, gifts, giveaways, and even surprises. And should you want to continue this, because you're going to all of a sudden say a couple of days from now, oh, I wish I remembered what Nicole said about that being sitting. So if so, you can get lifetime access to all of these interviews, all of their gifts, all of their wonder, and with it, you're going to get a post-summit summary workbook that captures a lot of the talking points and a lot of the things that we've been sharing on each one of these interviews. And you're going to get a surprise gift from me. So all you need to do to learn more is go to tiny.cc/summit digital package to learn more. And then, like I said, stay tuned for additional expert sessions, and be sure that you've caught up on all of the interviews that we've had throughout the summit. And just thank you for being part, and we'll look forward to seeing you again. Take care, everybody. Bye.